Hello everyone, my name is Samana and I am back with my new video after a really long time. I was waiting to talk about something interesting, and obviously something really interesting happened in the last few days, and I think it's a hot topic, and so I'm going to talk about it, and that is the ban on Chinese apps in India. Okay, I'll be talking about the good part, the bad part, and the consequences and the repercussions of doing such a or taking such a move by the Indian government, right? Now, a lot of y'all and most of y'all have read in the news and seen the news that such so and so apps are banned. Some of y'all are really agitated. Some the TikTok users are getting mad. Others are happy because it's a sort of a revenge which you've taken against China. So there are a lot of debates and talks happening about it. But if you really go in depth and deep dive, not many people know the actual real reasons why only such these apps are getting a ban, and what exactly, why only the apps, and why particularly targeting these apps, right? There are a lot of questions and a lot of understanding required to understand why exactly the government took this move, and uh, it's important to understand that being an Indian, and if anyone questions you, as you know, if your fellow Indian or somebody else is questioning you, why is India banning apps, or why is this happening? I think that it's not cool for the government to do that. You should have your answers and explain it to the other person. Like, look, here are the things, and that's why India has taken this move, right? Today's video is going to be a little longer. Pardon me for that. Apologies. But this is something which is very important, and I would like to raise all the points, and so that every each one of us have a greater understanding about what exactly is happening around us, right? Uh, you can go and explain it to your friends and read more about it. It's very interesting. Okay, so on June 29th, right, citing emergent nature of threat, citing that as a reason, the Indian government, they banned 59 apps. 59 Chinese apps were banned in one single day, right? So these apps included some of the major apps like TikTok, Share It, like these are like big apps, okay, which has like a huge base, huge number of users. Apart from that, there are apps like Sheen, UC Browser, Cam Scanner, which got banned. Okay, in total, 59 apps were banned, and this was obviously a counter move what India had because of the amid ongoing tensions between India and China, and how we had our 20 Indian Army personnel killed during the amidst the tensions between India and China, which is happening at the Chinese border in Ladakh, right? So because of all those tensions, and because as a source of showing that this is our action, this is what how we respond back, government has banned 59 apps. Okay, now why did the government do that? Okay, now government stated that the user data, right? Users as in you and me, our data is being transferred in a very or transmitted in a very unauthorized manner, because because some of these servers didn't even have locations from India, right? They had locations outside India, which is again obviously a threat to the national security and the defense of the country, and it's a deep concern, right? You never know what how they're fiddling with your stuff, right? It's your personal, your private data. It's very intimate information, so you never know how people fiddle with it, and it's and amidst the ongoing tension, the government thought it's very right to sort of ban these apps, because it's a matter of integrity, it's a matter of national integrity, it's a matter of national security, so it's very important to take care of our nation first. So all these apps, these 59 apps are banned, and it cannot be used any mobile or in any non-mobile internet enabled devices. It cannot be used, and you won't even find it now on Play Store. Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. It's removed. It's been told to be removed on June 29, and it has been removed, right? So we, India, is the first country to actually ban the app, okay? But such concerns, obviously, if you've been reading the news, a lot of countries have been raising concerns against China, right? Even the US, I mean, they are topping it all. So they have raised a lot of privacy concerns against China. And if you've read about this person, okay, he's a US National Security Advisor. His name is Robert O'Brien. So he said that, China is a threat to everyone, right? They affect the national security of almost all the nations because they're constantly plotting and, conspiring things. So they have all these apps which are really prominent across globally, and they all function under the Communist Party of China, and they all function as arms of Communist Party of China, and they work under the Communist Party of China. I mean, the agendas what they have certain. Obviously, the Communist Party of China has their own geopolitical. They have their own ideological agendas which they have, and through these apps, they kind of want to rule and control the entire world. Like globally, they want to do that. So. He says that because of these apps, as I mentioned earlier, they're kind of getting intruding into your privacy. They're getting to get all your data about your needs, your actions, your purchases, your health conditions, the your social media, the way you work. It's kind of getting to know everything because they have a backdoor on these products, and from which they sort of get your data, and it's called as micro targeting, and that's how they get to they have everybody's data, and it's like a privacy breach, you can say. So yeah, so that's why the government said that, you know what, we are gonna ban this. We're not gonna have this because we already have a lot of tension with y'all, so let's just not create more tensions. Let's just keep you away. Let's keep the distance, right? So that was the government's whole point of banning these apps, right? Now, coming to China, the belligerent China. Now, China is obviously, it has tensions with India, but of late it is having tensions with its neighboring nations also regarding similar issues, regarding Chinese parts allegedly occupied by those nations. So it's been having conflicts with Vietnam, with Japan, it's with Philippines, with Australia. It's been having these fights with them, and obviously with India, after that incident of, it always had a bit of a tension, but obviously after 20 Indian army personnel were killed on June, the 15th of June. After that, it became worse. There were a lot of tensions in the China border regions in Ladakh, and obviously they're seeing that China is doing some activities in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir area also, which we feel that the sort of plotting something against India, which is not good news for us. And they are actually tactfully brainwashing some of the other smaller nations and against us. So Nepal, the Nepalese government, who they were an ally to India, right? So off late they become hostile towards us. It's if you've been reading the news, you'd hear about it. They are not in support. They are actually collaborating with China. Even in today's news, I read, they're getting into collaborations for their own exchange of trade and business. Yeah, so that's what's happening. So China is doing all this planning and plotting. So India, why banning these apps is because India is a big market of TikTok or share it. Like every person is using TikTok. I myself used TikTok for a while. Sometime in 2018, and then I uninstalled it. It's like an addiction. A lot of people use it. It's a source of entertainment. Share it, where you share files, right? If you see, 90 to 95% of the Android ecosystem is occupied by these apps, okay? And in and most of these are like, I mean, these apps are leading on the Android ecosystem, and most of the users for these apps across globally, if you see, Indian users are the most for these apps, right? And if you see, in 2019 there was 5.5 billion users for TikTok, right? And that's the number. There was 323 million downloads. Can you imagine? In 2019, 323 million times in a year TikTok was downloaded, right? And in India itself, okay, India has 30% of the entire 100% of TikTok users. 30% is from India. Can you imagine the user base? 30% is from India, right? So what happened is, now imagine all this 30% is just wiped off, okay, in a matter of a day's time. So the parent company, which is ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, so obviously it had a very high valuation, okay. It drastically reduced because of this, and so they are in danger right now. And ByteDance also holds TikTok and Hello, which is another app which has all its users from India. So because of that, completely the valuation has gone down to a great extent. And if you see UC browser, it's another app which even I have used at one point in my life. It's an internet browser app. It's just like Google Chrome. It's the second most used internet browser app, by the way, in India, and and it has about like 20%, 25% share in the Indian market. So if you see, Google Chrome has about 70%, and this one has about 25%, 22 to 25%. It's crazy, right? It's insane. Imagine all of this being wiped out, right? So there were, if you see in today's time, there was 170 million active users for TikTok. And totally, if you see, there has been 611 million downloads, right? And India has the highest number of TikTok downloads, okay, followed by China and the US, okay. Like, Indians spend 5.5 billion hours in downloading, TikTok, which is insane, right? Which is in spending on, using TikTok, which is very crazy, right? And again, so this is what it is. If you see Share It, it is again a file sharing app. Again, it has 400 million active users in India. They didn't really have a lot of marketing for this app, but then it was so cool that the app was cool. It had word of mouth. That's how the marketing happened, and it was great. And that's how it had so many users, and it has about 1.8 billion users worldwide, which is again a lot in number. Then there was this Club Factory. These are some of the popular apps amongst those 59 apps which got banned. Club Factory is again e-commerce. So they claim that they are the third largest e-commerce company. They have 30,000 sellers on their platform. Right, so all that is gone. Then there's Scam Scanner, which is again a scanning app. It has more than 100 million users in India. So such things are gone, okay. So obviously China, how has China reacted to this? So Chinese, they're devastated. They're obviously very angry. They've become aggressive. And Chinese, they're like, the response to what the Chinese embassy in New Delhi, they've said that, this is, India is behaving crazy, it's very ambiguous. They have a very there's a lot of ambiguity. They don't have like real evidence that we are actually intruding their privacy. It's very ambiguous, and they are violating the norms of the World Trade Organization. They're going against it. Like, all of a sudden you're doing this and banning like so many apps, 59 apps. You're like completely ruling us out, is crazy, right? And you're going against the WTO norms. You're behaving on grounds which are very ambiguous. That's what China has been telling, and they're like, this is against the consumer interest as well. There are a lot of consumers who would not want this, but the government is going against the consumer interest. And obviously, if you just shoo us out, you're like shooing off the market competition, which is very important. You're kind of protecting yourself, but you're not, it just doesn't open up to innovation and competition, right? So you're causing danger to yourself, and most importantly, you're violating the WTO norms, where international trade is important, and you can't just get up one fine day and say that no, we don't want you. You can't do that, and they can go to the World Trade Organization and they can complain against India for violating this, for doing this against China. They can do that, right? So that's what they've been saying, right? Now, what has impact has it have on the Indian apps? Now, there are a lot of Indian apps which are good, right? They're equally good as like some say on the likes of TikTok, but then they have not been promoted, so people don't know about it. They don't have so much they're not backed up by big firms, or they don't have that much funding to sort of promote themselves. So they were not known, but now they are known. So there were apps like Mitro, there were apps like Chingari, which are again video sharing platforms. Okay, so if you see Chingari, its founder, his name is Mr. Sumit Ghosh. Okay, so he said that when this move was announced, okay, by the government, there was 3.5 million downloads in less than 48 hours after the government's move, after the government announced, which is crazy, right? Like it's like a boom in the business. So it's really awesome for these local Indian companies, right? Mitro is that's about Chingari. Then there's Mitro, which is another video sharing platform. You share short videos on Mitro, and they had no marketing. Okay, so they were for 70 days after the launch, they had 10 million downloads without any marketing. But after the government announced that, what, this is happening, they had within 3 days, it doubled. They had like 22 million downloads. So that's the difference it's made, and how these people are really gaining because of obviously the ban, which is really cool because it's kind of promoting our Indian companies, which is trying to make them come forward. So there's another company called Moj, which is again they make videos. You can share videos and emoticons and stuff. It's pretty cool as well. Do check it out. So these apps, they're booming. The growth is happening. So it actually grew a lot. So there's another app called Trail. It's a lifestyle, it's e-commerce platform wherein the app also saw a lot of growth, like a 25% growth in the last 1 year, which is humongous. So yeah, so they're really benefiting with that, which is great news. Okay, now what let's finally talk about, now that we've understood the entire thing, let's finally talk about what's the good part and what's the bad part, right? Let's have pointers. Okay, now the good part, okay, or the pros of this whole thing is, this Chinese aggression has reduced, right? So it's kind of it's an answer to the Chinese aggression, that what, we do not like really depend on you, and we have our own thing, and we can turn the tables around. So it's sort of giving an answer to them, that we can sort of be able to give you back, okay, because physically they are very powerful. We can't fight with them. It's not possible for us, right? What we could do is we can virtually fight with you, right? And that's exactly what we've done. We have targeted you somewhere where we are strong. We know we can give it there. We can't go there with our army and fight against them, because they are hands down more powerful. They have, the army is really strong and stuff like that. Let's not get into that. Let's do this. And that's what you've done. So their aggression level has been hit, right? Which is a good thing. And yeah, but it has its own consequences. Second thing is, we are giving opportunities to Indian entrepreneurs. uh, this is so nice, right? Like I've spoken, there's so many Indian companies who are coming forward, they're getting to do their own stuff, they're getting to showcase their own stuff, and people get to know about them, which is great, right? Nobody knew about these companies before this. Also, China, wherein for decades, okay, they have been promoting their local entrepreneurs, okay, they don't believe in global apps, okay. For your information, in China all these global apps are banned. They promote only the local apps, okay. WhatsApp doesn't work in China. There's no Netflix, there's no YouTube, there's no so many things, yeah. There's no Facebook, for example. They have their own local apps which they promote their local entrepreneurs and they give them opportunities. They do not use any of the global apps. For decades they've been doing that, but they promote their apps globally, they promote everything globally, right? Their phones and everything else. That's what they do, but in their own country they don't follow it. They're very smart that way. So why can't we be as smart as them? Let's also promote our own Indian entrepreneurs. We are smart enough, we are intelligent enough, and why don't we do that? So yes, now we get a chance. We get a chance to provide an opportunity right on the table, and just people have to just grab it. Okay, so that's the thing. And it also signals that, third point is, it also signals that finally Modi government is doing something, right? Because after what happened with the army personnel, everybody were there was this outrage, and everybody is like, you know what, this government's not doing anything, this, that, this. So government was giving it a thought, okay. It just thought through all of this, and like, you know what, see, we are not going to talk much. Modi government says that, see, this is our action, this is how we, sort of give our answer to what you've done to us, okay. And I personally think that's a great thing, it's they finally answered through their actions, right, which is great, okay. And also, if you see in the cons, okay. Let's talk about the cons here. Now if you see, with India and China, the import exports have become imports have become a huge concern, right? If you see, talking about exports, 5%, 5.1% exports are done from China to India. India to China, it's about 30%. Talk about imports. India imports 13.7% stuff from China, but China imports just 0.9% stuff from India. Look at the difference. So India is impacted hugely when it comes to imports, yes. And because 76.3% of our antibiotics are imported from China, and that's why all these pharmaceutical companies, the markets have been hit because of this. Even vehicle parts, I'll talk to my dad about manufacturing. The imports which come from the Chinese parts, they are affected. They are affected hugely. There are a lot of others industries, the pipes, there are a lot of parts, smaller parts which are being imported. For every, even a small device, there's so many parts which are made in China, obviously, right? You see it everywhere. It's because it's cheaper, it's low, it's more like a use and throw thing, and it's cheap. And India always is a price sensitive market, so it always looks for something like that, right? So yeah, so that's affected hugely. Huge impact is going to happen on the imports, right? So we have to start focusing on make in India stuff like that, right? It's important. Second important point, the bad part of this is the lot of Chinese investors and all these unicorn startups what India has, okay, like the unicorns, right? There's Paytm, there's Swiggy, some of which I have also been a part of, Ola, Zomato, Byju's, these are unicorns. But a huge investment has been from Indian companies, from Chinese companies, and these investment firms, now that you've done this, they can actually say, you know what, I don't want to invest in your company, I don't want to invest on you. You guys are not, you guys are shooters off. Why would we invest on you? So they might just, just go away. So these companies would be in danger at that point in time. And obviously, these companies have a huge base in India. So, it's like a cycle. It's a counter effect. Every time you do something, the other person counter attacks you with something else. So that's something which is there. And third thing is, the last point which I feel is, it reduces competition, and you're sort of protecting your own thing. And long term, it the Indian companies might get affected because of this, right? There's lack of competition, and in times like this, there's Facebook and WhatsApp which might exploit the whole situation, and it might be dangerous for us. And Chinese, if they do something, you know, in terms of their economy, they're very strong. So if they counterattack us on those grounds, we'll have a very difficult situation. So it has its own plus points and the own repercussions. So right now, these two countries have to deal with it in the most in the best way possible, which I believe they'll do in due course of time. But yeah, so this is the whole situation. What's happening about the Chinese apps ban in our country. So, uh, yeah, this was it. And I hope you guys understood what exactly happened in this whole Chinese app ban process. And now that if somebody asks, you will be able to explain to them what exactly happened, right? So if you like my video, if you really liked it, and if you understood my video, please like it, and share it, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. And yeah, and please let me know if you want any more of such informative videos, or anything related to something which is relevant. Please let me know. I would love to help others, and the whole process learn myself, right? So that's gonna be great. Yeah. Okay, so all right, thank you. So that's all for today. And do let me know what you think about the Chinese apps ban. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Why? And just give me your answers, okay? So I'll see you then, and thank you for everything, and have a nice day.